incredible and real story. Enjoy.
When I saw the laughter on her face as she signed the divorce papers, I felt nothing. No sadness, no regret, just stillness, like the kind you feel before a storm hits. Melissa and I had been married for 7 years. We weren't perfect, but we had what most people would call a stable relationship. Vacations twice a year, smiles at family dinners, public affection that looked real enough. But what no one saw was the growing space between us at night, the polite silence, the way she started guarding her phone like it was a vault. I'd known for months that she was cheating. I just didn't say anything, not right away, because while Melissa was busy playing games with her personal trainer behind my back, I was preparing something much bigger. You see, Melissa had always believed I was a safe bet, a quiet man with modest Ike job, a basic house, and boring routines. She used to call me reliable with a smile, but I saw the boredom in her eyes. I wasn't flashy enough, bold enough, wealthy enough to keep her interested. What she didn't know, what no one knew, was that reliable was just my cover. By day, I worked a regular job. By night, I ran a tech startup that quietly exploded during the pandemic. I never bragged. I never flexed. I reinvested every dollar, built my company under a holding firm, and kept my finances separate. No paper trail she could trace. My net worth? Just shy of $12 million when she served me divorce papers with a smug little smirk. "I think we both know this is for the best," she said casually, sipping her green smoothie like we were discussing what to watch on Netflix. "I agree," I said. She looked surprised. She expected a fight, tears, maybe begging. But I simply nodded, signed, and let her believe she'd won. Over the next few weeks, she bragged to her friends about how she was going to get the house, a monthly check, and a clean break from the dull chapter of her life. She flaunted her new boyfriend all over social media, the same guy I'd seen pick her up 3 blocks from our home to avoid my security cameras. I let her. The day of the court hearing was when everything unraveled for her. She walked in wearing her best divorce glow-up outfit, tight dress, hair perfectly styled, not a shred of humility in sight. She even winked at me across the room, like we were sharing some kind of private joke. I didn't react. I sat beside my lawyer, calm, collected. Then came the moment she'd been waiting for. The judge asked about financial disclosures. She straightened in her seat, like a cat about to pounce. I handed over a folder. Melissa's attorney stood up. "Your Honor, my client has reason to believe Mr. Preston is withholding assets. He reports a modest salary, yet maintains high-end investments and travel expenses." The judge adjusted his glasses. "Actually, based on the documentation submitted today, Mr. Preston has been operating a tech business registered under Preston Innovations, LLC, which holds various intellectual properties, licensing agreements, and equity portfolios." Melissa tilted her head. The judge continued. "As of this month, Mr. Preston's net worth is approximately $11.8 million. The room went silent. I looked at Melissa. Gone was a smug grin. Her eyes widened. Her jaw opened slightly, but no words came out. It was like watching her soul leave her body in slow motion. The same woman who mocked my boring job was suddenly seeing a man she threw away through an entirely new lens, one shaped by money, success, and lost opportunity. She tried to recover. I didn't know any of this," she stammered. "We were married. Shouldn't I be entitled to—" My lawyer cleared his throat. "Your Honor, the assets were acquired through Mr. Preston's business, which he legally registered prior to the marriage. He kept all accounts separate, and there is no documentation showing joint contribution or claim by Mrs. Preston for the prenuptial agreement signed in 2016, which is valid and enforceable. The business and its earnings remain Mr. Preston's separate property." Boom. She had forgotten the prenup. Or maybe she assumed it didn't matter anymore. The judge nodded, closing the folder. "There's no legal basis to award Mrs. Preston any share of the business assets. Standard division of jointly acquired marital property will proceed. That includes the house, which Mr. Preston purchased before the marriage and maintained solely." Melissa turned to me, eyes pleading now. "But we were together for 7 years." I looked at her, still calm. "Yes," I said, and for most of them, I was faithful, patient, and quietly building the life you didn't care to notice. She tried to say something else, but the judge moved on. 10 minutes later, it was over. She got nothing. No house, no spousal support, just her own car and her half of the shared checking account, which held just enough for her to maybe cover a couple months of rent, if she was careful. I walked out of the courtroom without looking back. That night, I poured myself a glass of whiskey, stepped out onto my balcony, and finally allowed myself to smile. Melissa thought she'd be laughing all the way to the bank. Instead, she walked straight into a wall of consequences, blindfolded by her own arrogance. Now she watches my company on the news, sees me on podcasts, hears about the new woman in my life, one who doesn't just see me as reliable, but as a man who's steady, sharp, and worth building with. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't rage or destruction. It's silence, it's success, and it's watching the person who underestimated you realize, far too late, what they really lost. Have you experienced divorce? Share your story in the comments and don't forget to like the video. Thanks.